On the 31st of August 2023, this building right here, the Usindiso Building as it was known as, caught fire, killing 77 people, displacing many more and leaving hundreds of them injured. Now, it's been a year since this fire. What has happened since then? What we do know so far is that part one of the Commission of Inquiry into the Usindiso Building fire has found that the city of Joburg needs to be held accountable for this fire. It's also listed the Johannesburg property company, saying they need to be probed further for any wrongdoing as far as the Usindiso Building is concerned. Now, in September, Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi announced the establishment of the Usindiso Commission of Inquiry, which has been investigating the building fire since then. As I said, part one of that inquiry has been concluded, and they are now on part two, which basically probes the prevalence of hijacked buildings in the city of Joburg. As we've heard, there are about 188 of hijacked buildings in the inner city of Johannesburg. Part two of this inquiry is expected to also put a name on who should be blamed, rather, for the prevalence of hijacked buildings in the city of Joburg. Now, in October, we also saw the city of Joburg, the Human Settlements Department, moving the victims of this building to Denver. Now, this is where the city of Joburg has built shelters for the people who lived in this building. As I've said, they've been displaced following the fire. About 200 structures made of corrugated iron were built to house the victims there. Now, most of the victims did go there, but have since moved out, as the place is far from Johannesburg CBD, which is far from economic activity. So they've basically moved back to the inner city to pursue a life, to work, to put food on the table. Now, the people that we did find at the shelters 1 year on have still not recovered, some of them physically, some of them mentally and emotionally. They're still dealing with the trauma and the emotional scars that they were left with after the fire. But they've also said that the city of Joburg has basically been missing in action. After moving them to those shelters, they never came back to assist them with anything. And this is what some of the residents had to say.
Hey, mntanami ngahlukumezeka kakhulu. Yebo, ngahlukumezeka kakhulu ngoba kukhona uncedo nje engulutholayo. Ubaba wakwami washona. Ungishiye nabantwana, angisebenzi, uyena obebeka isinkwa etafuleni. Njengamanje abantwana basokola, ngazi ngizothatha nenhlanganise nami. Ngihleli nje kubuhlungu, lo kwenzeka leyo nto azange sithole nje counseling. Sibhlungu kodwa ngendlela okwenzeka ngayo ayikho nathi into esizoyenza. Kodwa nje sibhlungu ngoba kukho okuqhubekayo. Sabekwa la emkhukhwini kwathiwa sibekelwe u6 months kodwa kuzophela unyaka manje sihleli la emkhukhwini. Hayi asisathembi mntanami ukuthi bazosikhipha. Njengoba sibona nogesi losifakela wona amathemba wasekho ukuthi bazosikhipha.
Hey bethu uyabona njengoba ngisho ngithi ngihlezi ngivuka everyday ngiyibona lento. Kancane kancane mangihlala ngiyi1 noma ngithi ngicabanga ezinye izinto. Vele ifike lento leya la ngoba ngihlezi ngila vele. Ngiyibona everyday. Ebusuku. Ene manje ngilimaza kakhulu ngoba sengiphuza too much. Uyabo ukuthi ngithola ubuthongo even nala ngihlala khona emkhulu. So mawuzwa gugugugu uyathuka vele ukuthi ish akusekwenzakala into eyodwa eyenzakala lana yini.
Okunye okubhlungu kwenzakala ababeshonelwe yimndeni yabo bathi besabhizi benake ukuthi bashonelwe yimndeni yabo sabe bethatha abanye besiwe emashelter. Laba abanishonelwe yimndeni yabo bathi mabefika kwathiwe emashelter kugcwele, abanye ababesebhedlela bethi mabefika leshelter betshela ukuthi eshelter kugcwele, bagcine bengasayitholanga indawo yokuhlala kuphi eshelter la behlala khona. Babuyela bayozama ukucupha ehlotsheni nasebanganini edrobheni. Sitheme sithatha siletha la sithi sikhuluma ngabo, akazi izina kwindaba yethu, sikhuluma kunabantu abangakabi nazo izindlu ukuze kube manje abaphuma ezibhedlela abashonelwa yimndeni nabe besanaka imndeni yabo abanazi izindlu.
Now, a human rights activist, Andy China, has been working with some of the victims of the Usindiso fire since the fire broke out. He's been helping them with food, he's been helping some of them with accommodation, he's been helping some of them get their lives back on track. He's also noted the same thing, that it's been civil society that's been active on the ground with helping the people of this building. But the government, which has been blamed for this fire by the Usindiso inquiry, he also says has been missing in action. He's tried engaging with them on assisting some of the people who've been stranded after the August 31st blaze, but he says to no avail.
Every Saturday we run a trauma session at one of the local churches, and I can tell you those individuals are still traumatic. They feel a great amount of trauma in their lives. It's one thing to lose everything, but then to start up your life again and still holding on to things that you've lost, it's difficult to get a head start once again. So we try just with the ladies for now to give them trauma counseling, give them some skills, and hopefully they can find their feet. But social development hasn't come on board. They should have been doing assessments all the time, assessing the state of people, what they're really facing. If my child is not going to school, for instance, it takes a big toll because you've got to look after the child instead of going out and looking out for work, and that's the issue.
Now, as I said, the Usindiso inquiry has said that the city of Joburg needs to be held accountable for this fire. And Justice Sisi Gampepe, who is the chairperson of the commission of the inquiry, handed over the list of recommendations to the Gauteng Premier, Panyaza Lesufi. Now, the city of Joburg, which has been pointed as the entity or the city to blame, hasn't responded to those recommendations yet. We caught up with the city's mayor, Tata Morero, who says to us that he is convening a mayoral committee and they will look at those recommendations and they will respond point by point at some of the recommendations made by the Commission of Inquiry. The Commission of Inquiry said they should also probe the Johannesburg property company, which it found that it neglected this building, it neglected the people in this building. But will the city of Joburg effectively respond to the recommendations made by the Commission?
No, we're having a mayoral committee. Today the team came to brief me in details about the requirements and the response that is required by the commission. So we'll be giving the commission its response by Monday after the mayoral committee. So where we are on track with responding and also the issues that have been raised by the commission. So we'll be responding to them. No. We said on Friday we'll have a mayoral committee. We said the team must then present all the options available and we'll take a decision based on that. Remember, the commission does not necessarily mean that everything that is there was correct. There could be areas where, for example, the MMC of Human Settlement was set to be held liable, but she was never invited to come and present. So we have to look at those things and then make a decision of how we evaluate the report ourselves, and then we'll respond to the commission.
I think at this stage, only time will tell. But 1 year on, the residents and the victims of the Marshalltown fire, the Usindiso fire, remain living with pain. For Eyewitness News, I'm Alpha Ramushwana, Johannesburg.